morning, Captain Squire. Captain, you are to give me a horse and armor and some soldiers, and send me to the Dauphin. Those are your orders from my lord.
Orders? From your lord? And who the devil may your lord be? Go back to him, and tell him I'm neither duke nor peer under his orders. I'm the squire of Bodrico, and I take no orders except from the king.
Yes, Squire, that is all right. My lord is the King of Heaven.
Why, the girl's mad. Why didn't you tell me so, you blockhead?
Sir, do not anger her. Give her what she wants.
They all say I am mad, sir, until I talk to them. But you see, it is the will of God that you are to do what he has put into my mind.
It is the will of God that I will send you back to your father with orders to keep you under lock and key and thrash the madness out of you. What if you say to that?
You think you will, Squire, but you will find it all coming quite different. You said you would not see me, but here I am.
Yes, sir. You see, sir.
Hold your tongue, you!
Yes, sir.
Sir, you're presuming on my seeing you, are you?
Yes, Squire.
Now listen to me. I'm going to assert myself.
Please do, Squire. The horse will cost 16 francs. It is a good deal of money, but I can save it on the armor. I can find a soldier's armor that will fit me well enough. I'm very hardy, and I do not need beautiful armor made to my measure like you wear. I shall not want many soldiers. The Dauphin will give me all I need to raise the siege of Orléans.
To raise the siege of Orléans?
Yes, Squire. That is what God is sending me to do. 3 men will be enough for you to send with me, if they are good men and gentle to me. They promised to come with me, Polly and Jack.
Polly! You impudent baggage! Do you dare call Squire Bertrand de Poulanger Polly to my face?
His friends call him so, Squire. I did not know he had any other name. Jack...
That is Monsieur John of Metz, I suppose.
Yes, Squire. Jack will come willingly. He is a very kind gentleman and gives me money to give to the poor. And I think John Godsave will come, and Dick the Archer, and their servants, John of Homecourt and Julian. There will be no trouble for you, Squire. I have arranged it all. You only have to give the order.
Well, I'm damned!
No, Squire. God is very merciful. And the blessed saints Catherine and Margaret, who speak to me every day, will intercede for you. You will go to paradise, and your name will be remembered forever as my first helper.
Is this true about Monsieur de Poulanger?
Yes, sir. And about Monsieur de Metz, too. They both want to go with her.
Hello, you there. Send Monsieur de Poulanger to me, will you? Get out and wait in the yard.
Right, Squire.
Sit down, Joan.
May I?
Do what you were told. What is your name?
They always call me Jenny in the rain. Here in France, I'm Joan. The soldiers call me the maid.
What's your surname?
Surname? What is that? My father sometimes calls himself Dark, but I know nothing about it. You met my father?
Yes, I remember. You come from Doremy in Lorraine, I think.
Yes, but what does it matter? We all speak French.
Don't ask questions! Answer them. How old are you?
17, so they tell me. It might be 19. I don't remember.
What did you mean when you said that St. Catherine and St. Margaret talk to you every day?
They do.
What are they like?
I will tell you nothing about that. They have not given me leave.
But you actually see them, and they talk to you just as I am talking to you.
No, it is quite different. I cannot tell you. You must not talk to me about my voices.
How do you mean, voices?
I hear voices telling me what to do. They come from God.
They come from your imagination.
Of course. That is how the messages of God come to us.
Checkmate.
No fear. So, God says you to raise the siege of Orléans.
And to crown the Dauphin in Reims Cathedral.
And crown, gosh.
And to make the English leave France.
Anything else?
Not just at present. Thank you, Squire.
Suppose you think raising a siege is as easy as chasing a cow out of the meadow. You think soldiering is anybody's job?
I do not think it can be very difficult if God is on your side and you are willing to put your life in his hand. But many soldiers are very simple.
Simple? Did you ever see English soldiers fighting?
God made them. They're only men, just like us. And he gave them their own country and their own language. And it is not his will that they are to come into our country and try to speak our language.
Who has been putting such nonsense into your head? Don't you know that soldiers are subject to their feudal lord, and it is nothing to them or to you whether he's the Duke of Burgundy or the King of England or the King of France? What has their language got to do with it?
I do not understand that a bit. We are all subject to the King of Heaven, and he gave us our countries and our languages, and he meant us to keep them. If it were not so, it would be murder to kill an Englishman in battle. You, Squire, would be in great danger of hellfire. You must not think about your duty to your feudal lord, but about your duty to God.
It's no use, Robert. She can joke you like that every time.
Can she? By Saint Denis we shall see. We are not talking about God. We are talking about practical affairs. I ask you again, girl, have you ever seen English soldiers fighting? Have you seen them plundering, burning, turning the countryside into a desert? Have you heard no tales of their black prince who was blacker than the devil himself, or of the English king's father?
You must not be afraid, Robert.
Damn you! I am not afraid. And who gave you leave to call me Robert?
You were called so in church, in the name of our Lord. All the other names are your father's or your brother's or anybody's.
Nit!
Listen to me, Squire. In Domremy, we had to fly to the next village to escape from the English soldiers. 3 of them were left behind, wounded. I came to know these 3 poor goddams quite well. They had not half my strength.
Do you know why they are called the goddams?
No, everyone calls them goddams.
It is because they are always calling on their God to condemn their souls to perdition. That is what goddamn means in their language. How do you like it?
God will be merciful to them, and they will act like his good children when they go back to the country he made for them and made them for. I have heard the tales of the Black Prince. The moment he touched the soil of our country, the devil entered into him and made him a black fiend. But at home, in the place made for him by God, he was good. It is always so. If I went into England against the will of God to conquer England and tried to live there and speak its language, the devil would enter into me, and when I was old, I should shudder to remember the wickednesses I did.
Perhaps. The more devil in you, the better you might fight. That is why the goddams will take Orleans, and you cannot stop them, or 10,000 like you.
1,000 like me can stop them. 10 like me can stop them, with God on our side. You do not understand, Squire. Our soldiers are always beaten because they are fighting only to save their skins. And the shortest way to save your skin is to run away. Our knights are thinking only of the money they will make at ransoms. It is not kill or be killed with them, but pay or be paid. But I will teach them all to fight, that the will of God may be done in France, and then they will drive the poor goddams before them like sheep. You and Polly will live to see the day when there will not be an English soldier on the soil of France, and there will be but one king there, not the feudal English king, but God's French one.
This may be all rot, Polly, but the troops might swallow it. But nothing that we can say seems to be able to put any fight into them. Even the Dauphin might swallow it. If she can put fight into him, she can put it into anybody.
I can see no harm in trying, can you? There is something about her.
Now listen to me.
Yes, Squire.
And don't cut in! Before I have time to think!
Yes, Squire.
Oh. Your orders. but that you are to go to Chinon under the escort of this gentleman and 3 of his friends.
Oh, Squire, your head is all circled with light, like a saint's.
How is she to get into the royal presence?
I don't know. How did she get into my presence? If the Dauphin can keep her out, she's a better man than I take her for. I will send her to Chinon. She can say I sent her. And that come what may, I can do no more.
In the dress? I may have a soldier's dress, mayn't I, Squire?
Have what you please. Wash my hands of it.
Come, Polly.
He is the Duc de la Tremouille.
What be his job?
He pretends to command the army, and when I find a friend I can care for, he kills him.
Why dost let him?
How am I to prevent him? He bullies me. They all bully me.
Art afraid?
Yes, I'm afraid. It's no use preaching to me about it. It's all very well for these men with their armor that is too heavy for me, and their swords I can hardly lift, and their muscle, and their shouting, and their bad tempers. They like fighting. Most of them are making fools of themselves all the times they are not fighting. But I'm quiet and sensible, and I don't want to kill people. I just want to be left alone to enjoy myself in my own way. I never asked to be king. It was pushed on me. So if you're going to say, son of St. Louis, gird on the sword of your ancestors and lead us to victory, you may spare your breath to cool your porch, for I cannot do it. I'm not built that way. And there is an end to it.
Blethers. We are all like that to begin with. I shall put courage into thee.
But I don't want to have courage put into me. I want to sleep in a comfortable bed and not live in continual terror of being killed or wounded. Put courage into the others. Let them have their belly full of fighting, but let me alone.
It's no use, Charlie. Thou must face what God puts on thee. If thou fail to make thyself king, thou'lt be a beggar. What else art fit for? Come, let me see thee sitting on the throne. I have looked forward to that.
What's the use of sitting on the throne when all the other fellows give the orders? However, here's the king for you. Look your fill at the poor devil.
Thou art not king yet, lad. Thou art but Dauphin. Be not led away by them around thee. Dressing up don't fill empty noddle. I know the people, the real people, that make thy bread for thee. And I tell thee, they count no man king of France until the holy oil has been poured on his hair, and himself consecrated and crowned in Rheims Cathedral. And thou needst new clothes, Charlie. Why does Queen not look after thee properly?
We are too poor. She wants all the money we can spare to put on her own back. Besides, I like her beautifully dressed. I don't care what I wear myself, I shall look ugly anyhow.
There is some good in thee, Charlie, but it is not yet a king's good.
We shall see. I'm not such a fool as you think. I have eyes. And I can tell you that one good treaty is worth 10 good fights. These fighting fellows lose all on the treaties that they gain on the fights. If we have one treaty, the English are sure to have the worst of it, because they are better at fighting than at thinking.
If the English win, it is they that will make the treaty, and then God help poor France. Thou must fight, Charlie, whether thou will or no. I will go first to hearten thee. We must take our courage in both hands, aye? And pray for it with both hands
Stop
too.
talking about God and praying. I can't bear people who are always praying. Isn't it bad enough to do it at the proper times?
Thou poor child, thou hast never prayed in thy life. I must teach thee from the beginning.
I'm not a child. I'm a grown man and a father, and I will not be taught anymore!
Aye, you have a little son. He that will be Louis XI when you die. Would you not fight for him?
No! A horrid boy. He hates me. He hates everybody. Selfish little beast. I don't want to be bothered with children. I don't want to be a father. And I don't want to be a son, especially a son of St. Louis. I don't want to be any of these fine things you all have your heads full. I want to be just what I am. Why can't you mind your own business and let me mind mine?
Minding your own business is like minding your own body. It's the shortest way to make yourself sick. What is my business? Helping mother at home? And what is thine? petting lapdogs and sucking sugar sticks? I call that muck. I tell you thee, it is God's business we are here to do, not our own. I have a message to thee from God, and thou must listen to it, though thy heart break with the terror of it.
I don't want a message. But can you tell me any secrets? Can you do any cures? Can you turn lead into gold? Anything of that sort?
I can turn thee into a king in Rahn's cathedral, and that is a miracle that will take some doing, it seems.
If we go to Rahn's and have a coronation, Anne will want new dresses. We are too poor. I cannot afford them. I am all right as I am.
As you are? And what is that? Less than my father's poorest shepherd. Thou art not lawful owner of thy own land of France till thou be consecrated.
But I shall not be lawful owner of my own land. Will the consecration pay off my mortgages? I pledged my last acre to the Archbishop and that fat bully. I owe money even to Bluebeard.
Charlie, I come from the land and have gotten my strength working on the land. And I tell thee that the land is thine to rule righteously and keep God's peace in, and not to pledge at the pawn shop as a drunken woman pledges her children's clothes. And I come from God to tell thee to kneel in the cathedral and solemnly give thy kingdom to him forever and ever, and become the greatest king in the world, as his steward and his bailiff, his soldier and his servant. The very clay of France will become holy. Her soldiers will be the soldiers of God. The rebel dukes will be rebels against God. The English will fall on their knees and beg thee to allow them to return to their lawful homes in peace. Wilt be a poor little Judas and betray me and him that sent me?
Oh, only if I dare.
I will dare, dare, and dare again in God's name. Art for or against me?
I shall risk it. I tell you, I shan't be able to keep it up, but I'll risk it. You shall see. Come back, everybody! But mind you, stand by and don't let me be bullied. Come along! Will you? All of you! Come on! No, I'm in for it. But no matter, here goes. Call for silence, will you, little beast?
Silence for His Majesty the King. The King speaks. Will you be silent there?
I have given command of the army to the maid. The maid is to do as she likes with it.
What is this? I command the army!
Thou art answered, O gruff and grum. Who is for God and his maid? Who is for Orleans with me?
For God and his maid to Orleans!
To Orleans!
To Orleans!
Which is the way to the bridge?
You are impatient, maid.
Is this a time for patience? Our enemy is at our gates, and here we stand doing nothing? Well, why are you not fighting? Listen to me. I will deliver you from fear.
No, no, my girl. If you delivered me from fear, I would be a good knight for a storybook, but a very bad commander of the army. Come. Do you see those two forts at this end of the bridge, the big ones?
Yes. Are they ours or the goddamns?
Quiet and listen to me. If I relieve those forts with only 10 men, I can hold it against an army. The English have more than 10 times 10 goddams in those forts to hold them against us.
They cannot hold them against God. God did not give them the land under those forts. They stole it from him. He gave it to us. I will take those forts.
Single-handed?
Our men will take them. I will lead them.
Not a man will follow you.
I will not look back to see whether anyone is following me.
Good. You have the makings of a soldier in you. You are in love with war.
Oh. And the Archbishop said that I was in love with religion.
Aye, God forgive me, I'm a little in love with war myself, the ugly devil. I'm like a man with 2 wives. Do you want to be a woman with 2 husbands?
I will never take a husband. A man in Toul took an action against me for breach of promise. But I never promised him. I am a soldier. I do not want to be thought of as a woman. I will not dress as a woman. I do not care for the things that women care for. They dream of lovers and of money. I dream of leading a charge and placing the big guns. You soldiers do not know how to use the big guns.
True.
You think you can win battles with a great noise and smoke.
Half the time the artillery is more trouble than it is worth.
Aye, lad, but you cannot fight stone walls with horses. You must have guns, and much bigger guns too.
Aye, lass. But a good heart and a stout ladder will get you over the stoniest wall.
I will be the first up that ladder when we reach the fort. Bastard, I dare you to follow me.
You must not dare as staff officer, Joan. Only company officers can indulge in displays of personal courage. Besides, you must know that I welcome you as a saint. No, not as a soldier. I have daredevils enough at my call if they could help me.
I am not a daredevil. I am a servant of God. My sword is sacred. I found it behind the altar in the Church of St. Catherine, where God hid it for me, and I may not strike a blow with it. My heart is full of courage, not of anger. I will lead, and your men will follow. That is all I can do. But I must do it. You shall not stop me.
All in good time. Our men cannot take those forts by a sally across the bridge. They must come by the river and take the English from behind on this side.
Then make rafts and put big guns on them and let your men
The
cross
rafts are
us.
ready and the men are embarked, but they must wait for God.
What do you mean? God is waiting for them.
Let him send us a wind then. My boats are downstream. They cannot come up against both wind and current. We must wait till God changes the wind. Come, let me take you to the church.
No. I love church, but the English will not yield to prayers. They understand nothing but hard knots and slashes. I will not go to church until we have beaten them.
You must. I have business for you there.
What business?
To pray for a west wind. I have prayed. And I have given 2 silver candlesticks, and my prayers are not answered. Yours, maybe. You are young and innocent.
Oh. Yes, you are right. I will pray. I will tell St. Catherine. She will make God give me a west wind. Quick, show me the way to the church. God bless you, child. Come, bastard.
Senor! Senor, mademoiselle!
What is it, the kingfisher?
Oh, a kingfisher? Where?
No, the wind! The wind, the wind! That is what made me sneeze.
The wind has changed. God has spoken. You command the king's army. I am your soldier.
The boats have put off. They're tearing upstream like anything.
Now for the forts. You dared me to follow, dare you leave?
Villard, dear comrade in arms, help me. My eyes are blinded with tears. Set my foot on the ladder and say, up, Joan.
Never mind the tears. Make for the flash of the guns. For God and Saint Denis!
The maid! The maid! God and the maid! Hooray, yay, yay!
Hey, my lord, at Orleans, this girl had her throat pierced by an English arrow and was seen to cry like a girl from the pain of it. It was a death wound, yet she fought all day, and when our men had repulsed all her attacks like true Englishmen, she walked alone to the wall of our fort with a white banner in her hand, and our men were paralyzed and could neither shoot nor strike, whilst the French fell on them and drove them onto the bridge, which immediately burst into flames and crumbled under them, letting them down into the river where they were drowned in heaps. Was this your bastard generalship? Or were those flames the flames of hell conjured up by witchcraft?
You will forgive Messiah John's vehemence, but he has put our case. We admit that Dunois is a great captain. Now, how was he able to do nothing until the witch came?
I do not say that there were no supernatural favors on her side, but their names on that white banner were not the names of Satan or Beelzebub, but the blessed names of our Lord and his Holy Mother. And this commander of yours who was drowned, Glasdale, I think you call him.
Glasdale. Sir William Glasdale.
Glasdale, thank you very much. He was no saint. Some of our people are convinced that he was drowned for his blasphemies against the maid.
Well, my lord, what are we to infer from all this? Has the maid converted you?
If she had, my lord, I should have known better than to have trusted myself here within your grasp.
Uh-oh, my lord.
If the devil is making use of this girl, and I believe he is.
Ah, listen to this, Messiah John. I knew your lordship wouldn't fail us. Pardon my interruption. Proceed.
If it be so, then the devil has longer views than you give him credit for.
Indeed. In what way? Hear this, Messiah John.
If the devil wanted to damn a country girl, do you think so easy a task would cost him the winning of half a dozen battles? No, my lord. Any trumpery imp could do that much if the girl could be damned at all. The prince of darkness does not condescend to such cheap drudgery. When he strikes at the Catholic Church, whose realm is the whole of the spiritual world. When he damns the souls of the entire human race. Against that dreadful design, the church stands ever on guard, and it is as an instrument of that design that I see this girl. She is inspired, but diabolically inspired.
I told you she was a witch.
She's not a witch. She's a heretic.
What difference does that make?
You? A priest ask me that? You English are strangely blunt in the mind. All these things that you call witchcraft are capable of a natural explanation. The girl's miracles would not impose on a rabbit. She does not claim them as miracles herself. What do her victories prove but that she has a better head on her shoulders than your swearing Glasdays and Mad Bull Talbots, and that the courage of faith, even though it be a false faith, will always outstay the courage of wrath?
Does your lordship compare Sir John Talbot, 3 times governor of Ireland, to a mad bull?
It would not be seemly for you to do so, Messiah John. Because you're still 6 removes away from the barony, but since I'm an earl and Talbot is only a knight, I may make bold to accept such comparison. My lord, I wipe the slate off as far as the witchcraft goes. Nonetheless, the woman must burn.
I cannot burn her. The church cannot take life. My first duty is to seek this girl's salvation.
Well, you do burn people occasionally.
No. When the church cuts off an obstinate heretic, like a dead branch from the tree of life, the heretic is handed over to the secular arm. The church has no part in what the secular arm sees fit to do.
And I shall be the secular arm in this case. Well, you hand over your dead branch and I shall make sure the fire is ready for it. You answer for the church's part, and I answer for the secular part.
I can answer for nothing. You great lords are too prone to treat the church like a mere political convenience.
Not in England, I assure you.
In England more than anywhere else. No, my lord. The soul of this village girl has equal value with yours or your king's before the throne of God. My first duty is to save it. My faith is to me what your honor is to you. And if there's a loophole through which this baptized child of God can reach to her salvation, I shall guide her to it.
You are a traitor!
You lie, priest. If you dare do what this woman has done, set your country above the Holy Catholic Church, to the fire you shall go with her.
My lord, I went too far.
My apologies for the words used by Messiah John de Stagumber, and I must apologize on my own account. If it seems as if I'm taking the burning of this poor girl too lightly, when one has seen whole countrysides burned over and over again, just as military routine, one has grown a very thick skin.
Yes, it is a painful duty. But in comparison to the horrors of heresy, it is less than nothing. I'm not thinking of this girl's body, which will suffer for a few moments only, but of her soul, which may suffer to all eternity.
God grant that we can save her soul. Now, I guess the practical problem would be, how do we save her soul without saving her body? For we have to face it, my lord, if this cult of the maid goes on, our cause is lost.
If she does not recant in the dust before the world, and submit herself to the last inch of her soul to the Catholic Church, to the fire she shall go if she once falls into my hand.
I think we're in agreement, my lord.
I will not imperil my soul. I will uphold the justice of the Church. I will strive to the utmost for this woman's salvation.
I feel for the girl. I hate to see these severities. I will spare her life if I can.
I would burn her with my own hands.
Sancta simplicitas.
I will go back to the farm when I've taken Paris.
I'm not sure they will let you take Paris.
What?
I should have taken it before. They've all been sound about it. I think some of them would rather Paris took you, so take care.
Jack, the world is too wicked for me. If the Goddams and the Burgundians do not make an end of me, the French will. Only for my voices, I should lose all heart. That is why I had to steal away, to pray here alone after the coronation. I'll tell you something, Jack. It is in the bells that I hear my voices. Not today when they all rang. That was nothing but jangling. But here, in this corner, where the bells come down from heaven and the echoes linger, or in the fields, to the distance of the quiet of the countryside, my voices are in them. Do you hear? Dear child of God, just what you said. At the half hour, they will say, be brave, go on. At the 3/4, they will say, I am thy help. But it is at the hour when the great bell goes after. God will save France. It is then that St. Margaret and St. Catherine, and sometimes even the Blessed Michael, will say things that I cannot tell beforehand. It's then that...
Then, Joan, we shall hear whatever we fancy in the booming of the bell. You make me uneasy when you talk about your voices. You know, I should think you're a little cracked if you didn't give me a very sensible reason for what you do. Though I hear you telling others you are only obeying Madame St. Catherine.
But I have to find reasons for you, because you do not believe in my voices. But the voices come first, and I find the reasons after, whatever you may choose to believe.
You angry, Joan?
Yes. No. Not with you. I wish you were one of the village babies.
Why?
I could nurse you for a while.
You're a bit of a woman after all.
No, not a bit. I am a soldier and nothing else. Soldiers always nurse children when they get a chance.
That is true. Well, your Majesty is anointed king at last. How do you like it?
I would not go through it again. To be emperor of the sun and the moon, the weight of those robes. I thought I should have dropped when they loaded the crown onto me, and the holy oils they talked so much about were rancid. The archbishop must be nearly dead. His robes must have weighed a ton. They're stripping him still in the vestry.
Your Majesty should wear armor oftener. That would accustom you to the heavy dressing.
Yes, the old jibe. Well, I'm not going to wear armor. Fighting is not my job. Where is the maid?
Sire, I have made you king. My work is done. I'm going back to my father's farm.
Oh, are you? That would be very nice. A healthy life, you know.
But a dull one. You'll find the petticoats tripping you up after leaving them off for so long.
You won't miss the fighting. It's a bad habit, but a grand one. The hardest of all to break yourself of.
Still, we don't want you to stay if you would really rather go home.
I know well that none of you would be sorry to see me go.
Bishop! Archbishop! Archbishop, the maid wants to start fighting again.
Why have we stopped fighting then? Are we at peace?
No, well, I suppose not. But let us be content with what we have done. Let us make a treaty. Our luck is too good to last, and now is our chance to stop before it turns.
Luck? God has fought for us? And you call it luck? And you would stop while there are still Englishmen on this holy earth of dear France?
Maid, the king addressed himself to me, not to you. You forget yourself. You very often forget yourself.
Then speak you, and tell him it is not God's will that he should take his hand from the plow.
If I'm not so glib with the name of God as you are, it's because I interpret his will through the authority of the church and my sacred office. When you first came, you respected it and would not speak as you are now speaking. You were clothed in the virtue of humility, and because God rewarded your enterprises accordingly, you stained yourself with the sin of pride. The old Greek tragedy is among us. It's the chastisement of hubris.
Yes, she always thinks she knows better than everyone else.
But I do know better than any of you seem to. And I am not proud. I never speak unless I know I'm right.
Oh, just so.
And how do you know you're right?
I always know. My voices.
Oh, your voices. Your voices. Why don't the voices come to me? I am king, not you.
They do come to you, but you do not hear them. You have not sat in the field in the evening, listening for them. When the Angelus rings, you cross yourself and have done with it. But if you prayed from your heart and listened to the thrilling of the bells in the air after they stopped ringing, you would hear the voices as well as I do. But what voices do you need to tell you what the blacksmith can tell you? I tell you, we must make a dash at Compiègne and relieve it as we relieved Orléans. Then Paris would open its gates, or if not, we will break through them. What is your crown worth without your capital?
That is what I say too. We shall go through them like a red-hot shot through a pound of butter. Come on, bastard, what do you say?
If our cannonballs were all as hot as your head and we had enough of them, we should conquer the earth. No doubt. Pluck and impetuosity are good servants in war, but bad masters. They have delivered us into the hands of the English every time we have trusted them. We never know when we are beaten. That is our great fault.
You never know when you are victorious. That is a worse fault. You would have been besieged in Orleans still, you and your councils of war. If I had not made you attack, you should always attack.
I know what you think of us, General Joan.
Never mind that, Jack. Tell them what you think of me.
I think that God was on your side. For I have not forgotten how the wind changed and how our hearts changed when you came. And by my faith, I shall never deny that it was in your sign that we conquered. But I tell you as a soldier, God is no man's daily drudge, no mate's either. He has to be fair to your enemy too. Don't forget that. Well, he set us on our feet through you at Orleans, and the glory of it has carried us through a good few battles here to the coronation. But if we presume on it further and trust to God to do the work we should do ourselves, we shall be defeated, and serves us right.
But we...
I am not finished! Do not think any of these victories of ours won without generalship. King Charles, you said no word in your proclamations of my part in this campaign, and I make no complaint. For the people shall run after the maid and her miracles, and not after the bastard's hard work finding troops for her and feeding them. But I know exactly how much God did for us through the maid, and how much he left for me to do by my own wits, and I say that your little hour of miracles is over. From this time on, he who plays the war game best will win if luck is on his side.
If. I tell you, bastard, your art of war is of no use, because your knights are no good for real fighting. War is only a game to them, like tennis and all their other games. Do you think men who are fighting for France and for God will stop to bargain about ransoms, as half your knights live by doing? No. They will fight to win, and they will give up their lives out of their hand, into the hand of God, when they go into battle, as I do. Common folks understand this. They cannot afford armor. They cannot pay ransoms. But they followed me half naked into the moat, and up the ladder and over the wall. For them, it is my life or thine, and God defend the right. You may shake your head, Jack, and Bluebeard, you may twirl your billy goat's beard and cock your nose at me. But remember the day your knights and captains refused to follow me to attack the English at Orleans. You locked the gates and tried to keep me in. And it was the townsfolk and common people that followed me and forced the gate and showed you the way to fight in earnest.
Well, not content with being Pope Joan, she must be Caesar and Alexander as well.
Pride will have a fall, Joan.
Never mind whether it's pride or not. Is it true? Is it common sense?
It is true. Half of us are afraid of getting our handsome noses broken. The other half is out fetching to pay off their mortgage. Let her go, bastard. She does not know everything, but she's got a hold of the right end of the stick. And fighting's not what it once was. Those who know least of it make the best job of it now.
I know all of that. I do not fight in the old way. I have learned the lesson of Agincourt, of Poitiers, of Crecy. I know how many lives any move of mine will cost. And if it is worth the cost, I make it. And I pay the cost. Joan never counts the cost at all. She goes ahead and trusts to God. She thinks she has God in her pocket. Well, up to now she's had the numbers on her side and she has won. But I know Joan. And I see that someday she will go ahead with only 10 men to do the work of 100. Then she will find that God is on the sides of the big battalions. She'll be taken by the enemy. And the lucky man that makes her capture will receive £16,000 from the Earl of Warwick.
£16,000? Hey, laddie, have they offered that for me? There cannot be so much money in the world.
There is. In England. Now tell me, all of you, which of you will lift a finger to save Joan once the English have got her? Well, I speak first to the army. The day she is dragged from her horse by a Burgundian or a goddam and he is not struck dead. The day after, she is thrown in a dungeon and the bars and bolts do not fly open at the touch of St. Peter's angel. The day the enemy realizes she is as vulnerable as I am, not a bit more invincible. She will not be worth the life of a single soldier to us. And I will not risk that life. As much as I cherish her as a companion in arms.
I don't blame you, Jack. You're right. I am not worth one soldier's life if God lets me be beaten. But France may think me worth my ransom after what God has done for her through me.
I tell you, I have no money. And this coronation, which is all your fault, has cost me the last farthing I can borrow.
The church is richer than you. I put my trust in the church.
Woman, they will drag you through the streets and burn you as a witch.
Oh, my lord, do not say that. It is impossible. I, a witch?
Peter Cochon knows his business. The University of Paris burned the woman that said that what you had done was well done and according to God.
But why? What sense is there in that? What I have done is according to God. They could not burn a woman for speaking the truth.
They did.
But you know that she was speaking the truth. You would not let them burn me.
How could I prevent them?
You would speak in the name of the church. You are a great prince of the church. I would go anywhere with your blessing to protect me.
I have no blessing for you when you're proud and disobedient.
But why will you go on saying things like that? I am not proud and disobedient. I am a poor girl and so ignorant that I do not know A from B. How could I be proud? And how can you say that I am disobedient when I always obey my voices because they come from God?
The voice of God on earth is the voice of the church militant, and the voices that come to you are echoes of your own willfulness.
It is not true.
You tell the archbishop in his cathedral that he lies, and then you say you're not proud and disobedient?
I never said you lied. You as good as said my voices lied. When have they ever lied? If you will not believe in them, even if they are only the echoes of my own common sense, are they not always right? And are not your earthly counsels always wrong?
It always comes to the same thing. She is right. Everyone else is wrong.
Take this as your last warning. If you perish by setting your private judgment above the instructions of your spiritual directors, the church disowns you and leaves you to whatever fate your presumptions may bring upon you.
To put it quite exactly, if you attempt to relieve the garrison at Compiègne without the same superiority of numbers you had at Orléans,
the army disowns you and will not save you. And His Majesty the King have told you he doesn't have the throne, doesn't have the resources for ransoming you.
Not a penny.
You will stand alone. Absolutely alone. Trusting in your own conceit, your own ignorance, your own headstrong presumption, your own impiety, and hiding all these sins under the cloak of a trust in God. When you walk out through these doors into the sunlight, the crowd will cheer you. They will bring you their little children and their invalids to heal. They will kiss your hands and feet and do everything they can, poor simple souls, to get your attention. And damn you with the self-confidence that's bringing your destruction. But you will nonetheless be alone. They cannot save you. We and only we can stand between you and our enemies and the stake that they had burned that wretched woman in Paris.
Better friends and better counsel than yours.
I see I speak in vain to a hardened heart. You turn us away from you and you reject our protection. In the future, fend for yourself. And if you fail, God have mercy on your soul.
that is the truth, Joan. Heed it.
Where would you all have been now if I had heeded that sort of truth? There is no help, no counsel in any of you. Yes, I am alone on earth. I have always been alone. My father told my brothers to drown me if I would not stay to mind his sheep, while France was bleeding to death. France might perish if only our lambs were safe. I thought France would have friends at the court of the King of France, and I find only wolves fighting for pieces of her poor torn body. I thought God would have friends everywhere, because he is the friend of everyone. And in my innocence, I believed that you, who now cast me out, would be like strong towers to keep harm from me. But I am wiser now, and nobody is any the worse for being wiser. Do not think you can frighten me by telling me that I am alone. France is alone, and God is alone. And what is my loneliness before the loneliness of my country and my God? I see now that the loneliness of God is his strength. What would he be if he listened to your jealous little counsels? Well, my loneliness would be my strength too. It is better to be alone with God. His friendship will not fail me, nor his love, nor his counsel. In his strength, I will dare and dare and dare until I die. I will go out now to the common people, and let the love in their eyes comfort me for the hate in yours. You will all be glad to see me burnt, but if I go through the fire, I shall go through it to their hearts forever and ever. And so, God be with me.
Gentlemen, I am compassionate by nature as well as by my profession. And though the work I have to do may seem cruel to those who do not know how much more cruel it could be if it's left undone, I would take myself to the stake sooner than to do it if I did not believe in its righteousness, its necessity, and its essential mercy. Therefore, I ask you to address yourselves to this trial in a certain conviction. Anger is not a good counselor. Cast out anger. Pity is sometimes worse. Cast out pity, but do not cast out mercy. Remember, only the justice comes first. Have you anything to say, my lord, before we proceed to trial?
You have spoken for me, and you have spoken better than I could. I don't see how any sane man could disagree with a single word that has fallen from you. But this I will add. The crude heresies of which you have told us are horrible, but their horror is like that of the Black Plague. They rage for a while and then die off. But we are being subject to a plague today all throughout Europe that is spreading among men, not weak in mind or diseased in brain. Nay, the stronger the mind, the more obstinate the heretic. It sets the judgment of the private erring mortal against the considerable knowledge and experience of the church. But the church may be betrayed from within and set to barbarous ruin and desolation by this arch heresy, which the English commander calls Protestantism.
Protestantism?
And that reminds me, permission has the earl of work made for the defense of the secular arm, should the girl prove obdurate and the people be moved to pity her.
Have no fear on that score, my lord. The noble earl has 800 men-at-arms at the gates. They will see to it that she will not slip through our English fingers, even if the whole city be on her side.
Will you not add, may she repent and purge her sin?
That does not seem to me to be consistent. But of course, I agree with your lordship.
The court sits.
Let the accused be brought in.
The accused. Let her be brought in.
Sit down, Joan. You look very pale today, Joan. Are you not well?
Thank you kindly. I am well enough, but the bishop sent me some carp and it made me ill.
I'm sorry. I told him to see that it was fresh.
You meant to be good to me, I know, but it is a fish. It does not agree with me. The English thought you were trying to poison me.
What?
No, my lord.
They are determined that I shall be burnt as a witch, and they sent their doctor to cure me, but he was forbidden to bleed me, because the city people believe that a witch's witchery leaves her if she has bled, so he only called me filthy names. Why do you leave me in the hands of the English? I should be in the hands of the church. And why must I be chained by the feet to a log of wood? Are you afraid I will fly away?
Woman! It is not for you to question the court. It is for us to question you.
Do not try to escape from a tower 60 feet high. If you're not a witch, how are you still alive?
I suppose because the tower was not so high then. It has grown higher every day since you began asking me questions about it.
Why did you jump from the tower?
How do you know that I jumped?
You're found lying in the moat. Why did you leave the tower?
Why would anyone leave a prison if they could get out?
You tried to escape.
Of course I did, and not for the first time either. If you leave the door of the cage open, the bird will fly out.
That is a confession of heresy. I call the attention of the court to it.
Heresy, he calls it? Am I a heretic because I try to escape from prison?
Assuredly, if you are in the hands of the church, and you willfully take yourself out of its hands, then you are deserting the church, and that is heresy.
It is great nonsense. Nobody could be such a fool as to think that.
You hear, my lord, how I'm reviled in the execution of my duty by this woman.
I have warned you before, Joan. You are doing yourself no good with these spurt answers.
But you will not talk sense to me. I am reasonable, if you will be reasonable.
This is not yet in order. You forget, Master Promoter, that these proceedings have not been formally opened, and the time for questions is after she has sworn on the Gospels to tell us the whole truth.
You say this to me every time. I have said again and again that I will tell you all that concerns this trial, but that I cannot tell you the whole truth. God does not allow the whole truth to be told. You do not understand it when I tell it. It is an old saying that he who tells too much truth is sure to be hanged. I am weary of this argument. We have been over it 9 times already. I have sworn as much as I will swear, and I will swear no more.
My lord, she should be put to the torture.
You hear, Joan? That is what happens to the obdurate. Think before you answer. Has she been shown the instruments?
They are ready, my lord. She has seen them.
If you tear me limb from limb, until you separate my soul from my body, you will get nothing out of me beyond what I have told you. What more is there to tell that you could understand? Besides, I cannot bear to be hurt, and if you hurt me, I will say anything you like to stop the pain. But I will take it all back afterwards. So what is the use of it?
There is much in that, and we should proceed with mercy.
The torture is customary.
It must not be done wantonly. If the accused will confess voluntarily, its use cannot be justified.
This is irregular and unusual. She refuses to take the oath.
Do you want to torture the girl for the pleasure of it?
It's not by pleasure. It's the law. It's customary. It's always done.
It
Now,
will
that
not be
is
done
not
today.
so, Master. That is not so. Unless the inquiries are carried out by people who do not know their legal business.
I assure you, my lord, the woman is a heretic. It's always done.
It will not be done today if it is not necessary. Let there be an end of this!
Your lordship is merciful, of course. But it is a great responsibility to depart from the usual practice.
Thou art a rare noodle, master. Do what was done last time is thy rule, eh?
Thou wanton, you dare calling me a noodle.
Patience, Master, patience. I fear you will soon be only too terribly avenged.
Nudo indeed.
Meanwhile, let us not be moved by the rough side of a shepherd lass's tongue.
Nay, I am no shepherd lass, though I have helped with the sheep like anyone else. I will do a lady's work in the house, spin or weave against any woman in Rouen.
This is not the time for vanity, Joan. You stand in great peril here.
I know it. Have I not been punished for my vanity? If I had not worn my cloth of gold surcoat in battle like a fool, that Burgundian soldier never would have pulled me backwards off my horse, and I should not have been here.
If you are so good at woman's work, why do you not stay home and do it?
There are plenty of other women to do it, but there is nobody to do my work.
Come, we're wasting time on trifles. Joan, I'm going to put a most solemn question to you. Take care how you answer, for your life and salvation are at stake on it. Do you, for all that you have said and done, be it good or bad, accept the judgment of God's church on earth, more especially as to the acts and words that are imputed to you in this trial by the promoter here? Do you submit your case to the inspired interpretation of the church militant?
I am a faithful child of the church. I will obey the church.
You will.
Provided it does not command anything impossible.
She imputes to the church the error and folly of commanding the impossible.
If you command me to declare that all that I have done and said, and all the visions and revelations I have had, were not from God, then that is impossible. I will not declare it for anything in the world. What God made me do, I will never go back on. And what he has commanded or shall command, I will not fail to do in spite of any man alive. That is what I mean by impossible. You say, you are my judges. Consider well what you are about, for in truth, I am sent from God, and you are putting yourselves in great danger. And in case the church should bid me do anything contrary to the command I have from God, I will not consent to it, no matter what it may be.
Oh, what do you say? Heresy.
Contrary to
You've
God.
done everything. My lord, do you need anything more than this?
You have said enough to burn 10 heretics. Will you not understand? Will you not be warned?
Joan, if the church militant tells you that these visions and revelations are sent to you by the devil, do you not accept the fact that the church is wiser than you?
I believe that God is wiser than I, and it is his command that I will follow. All the things that you call my crimes have come to me by the command of God. I say, I have done them by the order of God. It is impossible for me to say anything else. If any churchman says the contrary, I shall not mind him. I shall mind God alone, whose command I always follow.
You don't know what you're saying. Child, do you want to kill yourself? Listen, do you not believe that you are subject to the Church of God on earth?
Yes. When have I ever denied it?
Good. That means, does it not, that you are subject to our Lord the Pope, to the cardinals, to the Archbishop, and to the bishop who stands before you today?
God must be served first.
Then your voices command you not to submit yourself to the church militant?
They do not tell me to disobey the church, but God must be served first.
And you and not the church are to be the judge.
But what other judgment can I judge by but my own?
Out of your own mouth you have condemned yourself. We have striven for your salvation to the verge of sinning ourselves. We have opened the road to you over and over, and you have shut it in our faces and in the face of God. Dare you pretend after what you have said that you are in a state of grace?
If I am not, may God bring me to it. If I am, may God keep me in it.
That is a good reply, my lord.
Were you in a state of grace when you stole the bishop's horse?
Oh, the devil take the bishop's horse and you too! We are here to try a case of heresy. No sooner do we get to the root of the problem than we are thrown back by idiots who understand nothing but horses!
By clinging to these small issues, you are the maid's best advocate. I'm not surprised that his lordship has lost patience with you. What does the promoter say? Does he press these trumpery issues, or no?
I share the impatience of his lordship as to these minor charges, only with great respect. I must emphasize two very horrible and blasphemous crimes which she does not deny. First, she has intercourse with evil spirits and is therefore a sorceress. Second, she wears men's clothes, which is indecent, unnatural, and abominable. And in spite of our most earnest remonstrances and entreaties, she will not change them even to receive the sacrament.
Is the blessed Saint Catherine an evil spirit? Is Saint Margaret? Is Michael the Archangel?
And how do you know that this spirit which appears to you as the Archangel does not appear to you as a naked man?
Do you think God cannot afford clothes for him?
Well answered, Joan.
It is, in effect, well answered. But no evil spirit would be so simple as to appear to a young girl in a guise that would scandalize her when he meant for her to take him as a messenger from Most High. Yes, the church instructs you, Joan, that the apparitions are demons seeking your soul's perdition. Do you not accept the instruction of the church?
I accept the messenger of God. How could any faithful believer in the church refuse him?
Wretched woman, again I ask you, do you know what you are saying?
Oh, you wrestle in vain, my lord, with the devil for her soul. Now, as to this matter of the man's dress, finally, once and for all, will you put aside that impudent attire and dress as becomes your sex?
I will not.
Oh, the sin of disobedience, my lord.
But my voices tell me that I must dress as a soldier.
Does that not prove to you that your voices are the voices of evil spirits? Can you suggest to us one good reason why an angel of God would give you such shameless advice?
Yes. What could be plainer common sense? I was a soldier, living among soldiers. I am a prisoner, guarded by soldiers. If I were to dress as a woman, they would think of me as a woman. And then, what would become of me? If I dress as a soldier, they think of me as a soldier, and I can live with them as I do at home with my brothers. That is why St. Catherine tells me I must not dress as a woman until she gives me leave.
Then when will she give you leave?
When you take me out of the hands of the English soldiers. I have told you I should be in the hands of the church, and not left night and day with 4 soldiers of the Earl of Warwick. Do you want me to live with them in petticoats?
My lord, what she says is God knows very wrong and shocking, but there might be a grain of worldly sense in it that might impose itself on a simple village maiden.
If we were as simple in the village as you are in your courts and palaces, there would soon be no wheat to make bread for you.
That's the things you get for trying to save her, Brother Martin.
Joan, we are all trying to save you. His lordship is trying to save you, and the Inquisitor could not be more just to you if you were his own daughter, but you are blinded by a terrible pride and self-sufficiency.
Why do you say that? I have said nothing wrong. I cannot understand.
Those who cannot understand are damned. To be simple is not enough. To be what simple people will say is good is not enough. The simplicity of a darkened mind is no better than the simplicity of a beast.
There is great wisdom in the simplicity of a beast, let me tell you. And sometimes great foolishness in the wisdom of scholars.
We know that, Joan, and we are not as foolish as you think us, so please, try to resist the temptation to make pert replies to us? Do you see that man who stands behind you?
Your torturer? But the bishop said that I was not to be tortured.
You are not to be tortured, because you have confessed everything necessary for your condemnation. And that man is not only the torturer, but the master executioner. Executioner, let the maid hear your answers to my questions.
Yes, master.
Are you ready for the burning of a heretic today?
It is in the marketplace. The English have built it too high for me to get near her and make the death easy. It won't be a cruel death.
But you are not going to burn me now.
There are 800 English soldiers waiting to take you to the marketplace the moment the sentence of excommunication is past the lips of your judges. You're with only a few short moments of that doom.
Oh, God.
Do not despair, Joan. The church is merciful, and you can save yourself.
Yes. My voices told me that I should not be burnt. St. Catherine bade me be bold.
Don't you see that your voices have deceived you?
Oh, no. That is impossible.
Impossible? They have led you straight to your excommunication and the stake which is there waiting for you.
Have they kept a single promise since you were taken to Compiègne? The devil has betrayed you, and the church lays out its arms to you.
Oh, God. It is true. It is true. My voices have deceived me. I have been mocked by devils. My faith is broken. I have dared and dared, but only a fool will walk into a fire. God, who gave me my common sense.
God be praised, for he has saved you at this 11th hour.
Amen.
What must I do?
You must sign a solemn recantation of your heresy.
Sign? That means to write my name. I cannot write.
You have signed many letters before.
Yes, but someone held my hand and guided the pen. I can make my mark.
My lord, do you mean you're going to allow this woman to escape us?
The law must take its course, Master Chaplain. And you know the law.
I know there is no faith in a Frenchman.
What?
I know what my lord, the Cardinal of Winchester, would say when he hears of this.
I
know what the authority will do. No faith in the Frenchman. There are 800 men at arms at the gate who will see to that this abominable witch is burnt in spite of your teeth.
Is that what all English churchmen are like? He must be mad or drunk.
Gentlemen, pray silence. Master Chaplain, bethink you a moment of your holy office and what you are and where you are. I direct you to sit down.
I will not sit down.
Master Inquisitor, this man has called me a traitor to my face
So
before.
you are a traitor! You are all traitors. You have been doing nothing but begging this damnable witch on your knees to recant all through this trial.
If you will not sit, you must stand, that is all.
I will not stand.
My lord, here is the form of recantation for the maid to sign.
Read it to her.
Do not trouble. I will sign it.
Woman, you must know what you are putting your hand to. Read it, Brother Martin, and let all be silent.
I, Joan, commonly called the maid, a miserable sinner, do confess that I have sinned in the following articles. I have pretended to have revelations from the gods and the angels and the blessed saints, and perversely rejected the church's warnings that these were temptations by demons. I have blasphemed abominably by wearing a modest dress contrary to the holy scriptures and the canons of the church. Also, I have clipped my hair in the style of a man, and against all duties which made my sex especially acceptable in heaven, have taken up sword, even to the shedding of blood, inciting men to slay each other, and most blasphemously imputing these sins to God. I confess this sin of sedition, to the sin of idolatry, to the sin of disobedience, to the sin of pride, and to the sin of heresy. All of which sins I now depart and abjure from, humbly thanking you doctors and masters who have brought me back to the grace of our Lord.
I will never return to my errors, but will remain in communion with the Holy Church in obedience to our Holy Father, the Pope of Rome. All this I swear by God the Almighty and the Gospels, and witness whereto I sign my name to this recantation.
Do you understand this, Joan?
It is plain enough, sir.
And is it true? What?
It may be true. If it were not true, the fire would not be ready for me in the marketplace.
Come, child, take the pen. Now mark Jehane. Now mark by yourself.
There.
Praise be to God, my brothers, for the Lamb has returned to the flock, and the shepherd rejoices in her, more than in 99 just men.
We declare thee by this act to be safe from the danger of excommunication.
I thank you.
But I must add that you have sinned grievously against our Lord and the Holy Church, and that thou mayest repent thy errors in solitary contemplation, and is shielded from any temptation to return to them. Therefore we, for the good of thy soul, and for a penance that may wipe out thy sins, and bring thee back, finally unspotted, to the throne of grace, do condemn thee to eat the bread of sorrow and drink the water of affliction to the end of thy earthly days in solitary imprisonment.
Perpetual imprisonment? Am I not then to be set free?
Set free? Child, after such wickedness as yours, what are you dreaming of?
Give me that writing. Light your fire. Do you think I dread it as much as the life of a rat in a hole? My voices were right.
No, Joan, no.
Yes? They told me you were fools, and that I was not to listen to your fine words, no trust to your charity. You promised me my life, but you lied. You think that life is nothing but not being stone dead. It is not the bread and water I fear. I can live on bread. When am I asked for more? It is no hardship to drink water if the water be clean. Bread has no sorrow for me, and water no affliction, but to shut me from the light of the sky and the sight of the fields and flowers, to chain my feet so that I may never again ride with the soldiers nor climb the hills, to make me breathe foul, damp darkness, and keep from me everything that brings me back to the love of God. When your wickedness and foolishness tempt me to hate him, all this is worse than the furnace in the Bible that was heated 7 times. I could do without my war horse. I could drag about in a skirt. I could let the banners and the trumpets and the knights and soldiers leave me behind as they leave the other women. If only I could still hear the wind in the trees, the larks in the sunshine, and the young lambs crying through the healthy frost, and the blessed church bells that send my angel voices to me on the wind. But without these things, I cannot live. And by your wanting to take them away from me, or from any human creature, I know that your counsel is of the devil, and that mine is from God.
Blasphemy! Blasphemy! She says her counsel is of God and ours of the devil. Monstrous! The devil is in our midst!
He is a relapsed heretic, obstinate, incorrigible, and altogether unworthy of the mercy we have shown her. I call for her excommunication.
Light your fire, man, to the stake with her.
You wicked girl. If your counsel were of God, would he not deliver you?
His ways are not your ways. He wills that I go through the fire to his bosom, for I am his child, and you are not fit that I should live among you. That is my last word to you.
Not yet. We decree that thou art a relapsed heretic,
Cast out from the unity of the church,
sundered from her body,
infected by the leprosy of heresy,
a member of Satan,
that thou must be excommunicate.
and now we do cast thee out, segregate thee, and abandon thee to the secular power.
Admonishing the same secular power to moderate its judgment of you in regard to death and division of the limbs.
And if any true sign of penitence comes to thee, so that our brother Martin can administer to thee the sacrament of penance.
Into the fire with the witch.
No, this is most irregular